Greetings, everyone. This is Arletta coming live and direct from Arletta Unleashed. And as always, I'm excited to go and spend some time with my peoples. Let's spend a couple of days. I was actually talking to Spirit, and it was like, Arletta, it's time for you to spend more time interacting with people in real life than through the internet, because I have been finding myself very allergic to computers lately. I mean, I hadn't checked my Facebook in 4 days, and I hadn't made a blog post. Was it been 3 days, 4 days maybe? Um, and it was suggested that my goal used to be 4 to 5 days a week for blog posts. And I was told to just post 2 or 3 times a week, and that's when my other time actually interacting with the real people in the real world. So I think that's an excellent move for me with where I'm at right now energetically, because I don't want to be in front of a computer screen. I like talking to y'all, but that's about it. I don't want a Facebook. I don't want to IM, and none of that. Pretty much. After working online, teaching online for like a year, and literally living in front of a computer, that thing got old. And I'm having too much fun in LA anyway. So that being said, I wanted y'all to make sure that I loved y'all. And I guess y'all see my nephew's little ball. And that my not posting was not just neglect, but I think it's been coming with the different things that have been going on and where I've been moving energetically, so it makes sense. Anyways, my topic for tonight is talking about the sacred masculine. Once again, I think one of my topics from last week was me talking about me being all excited about this particular speaker that I heard when I was at Agape last Sunday. So they had another amazing guest speaker today. His name was Matthew Fox, and the title of his or the topic rather of his presentation or service or whatever today was the yin and the yang, water and fire. And he was talking, primarily talking about the sacred masculine. And one of the challenges that I've been having in the last couple weeks was that I had been in one of those spaces where there was so much happening at once that I didn't really know what to blog about. And it was hard for me to even, I'll be like, okay, what am I going to blog? And I've had that challenge in the past, but it was getting more difficult. And, but I feel that one of the missing pieces of the puzzle as far as my focus. And that really came from the service today on the sacred masculine. And one of the key things that he talked about that really spoke to me was initially when I started my blog, Arletta Unleashed, it was about me becoming connected to and fully aware and realized in my divine feminine, really unleashing that divine feminine and allowing that to play out in my life. And much of what I initially set out to do, I made some great strides in actually accomplishing that. And in the meantime, hopefully have assisted some others who are interested in a similar process. But at the same time, I am sure that a large portion of my viewership are men, although the primary topic focus of my blog is for women, and my whole Unleashed and Unleashedment process was initially targeted specifically for women, and I'm still interested in targeting it for women. One of the things that he stated was that after giving acknowledgement and due props and respect for a number of for women who've taken upon themselves to really connect with and rediscover the divine feminine, reintroduce that into the dialogue and the reality and the context of everyday life, um, was the fact that even these women who do focus on incorporating the divine feminine in their lives still are subject to a totally skewed, uh, unbalanced understanding of the masculine, what he calls the yang energy from the yin yang energy paradigm, totally out of control. Um, and he was like, you can't truly incorporate divine feminine if your sacred masculine is totally out of whack as well. And there were so many amazing things that you say this again. Once again, y'all, I'm going to suggest to you that if you want to hear what he is talking about, as soon as you make it sense, your name is Matthew Fox. But you could go to agapelive.com and click on their little icon about the live streaming of their service and hear his presentation yourself, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But what that allowed me to do was to see that as I balance out my focus on Arletta Unleashed and Unleashedment process, it's time for me to also acknowledge for myself, for my viewership, the presence of the sacred masculine. What does that look like from a female's perspective? To postulate what that experience is from a masculine perspective and to address that as we all are working in our own unique ways, contributing to ushering in a new reality of balance and wholeness and love, where all beings who choose can be fully, authentically realized and expressed, which is ultimately the whole point of Unleashedment. So I'm so excited about that because it's like it was other piece of the puzzle. And a lot of my work in the last couple weeks, and I've mentioned this, has been around masculine energy. I was told that some old habits that I had had around still fearing men, not men in particular or specific necessarily. Some cases, yes, some people could fear, but fearing the idea of any interaction with any male where there was a possibility of relationship. It was an old habit I developed young, trying to be Muslim and only talk to Muslims and be celibate and all that kind of insane madness. Anyway, but I had carried that on over into adulthood, on until the present. It was time for me to shift in that habit and let that go. And then I've been having random appearances of men that I've had some form of interesting interaction with just pop up like this dude that I used to briefly talk to uh, years ago just requested me on Facebook, which is not odd. It's just that we had a very interesting history. And that, along with some encounters I've had in the last couple of days and just experiences, I'm like, what the hell is going on with all this old masculine energy showing up? And what's that saying for me? And so it makes sense that this acknowledgement and this expansion on this sacred masculine is now the new and expanded direction of the Unleashedment process. And it's incorporating that, and at the same time, I hope it will make this process that we're going through for my male viewership more rewarding because it will more specifically address them as men. And I don't know. I mean, what can I say about the sacred masculine? What I did appreciate the most about his conception of the sacred masculine was that he in no way denigrated masculine energy, the beast, the warrior, the protector, uh, with that unmitigated, quote unquote, uh, I don't know, protective killer instinct that characterizes masculine energy. Also, with it being balanced, that means that a man who is fully recognized and expressing his sacred masculine is, of course, also has the balance of the divine feminine. And you have this interplay in that within men, and then with women who are fully integrated with divine feminine also have the interplay of the sacred masculine in their experiences as well. So it wasn't no sorry ass, weak ass motherfucker type concept as far as the sacred masculine, which is what we often encounter in quote unquote modern culture, as I think it's been a deliberate effort to demonize masculinity, um, to only present it in its extreme forms that are allowed in our culture, um, and to strip it away of its nobility, of its importance, and of its essential role in just a human experience. So it was so warm, refreshing. Well, it wasn't warm, warmly refreshing to hear this man so eloquently and articulately address that. So that being said, I think we're going to explore that in some more detail because it's interesting. This week, I had a special challenge in my creator game where I'm memorizing my poems. And I have a poem that I memorized called Lies. And Lies is pretty much my personal expose on my experience being female, um, and grappling with the chauvinism and the sexism inherent in Islam in particular, as far as my experience with it, and the primary reason why I eventually decided to no longer be Muslim, and why I've decided to uh, no longer be associated with or even remotely consider any religion because they all have similar biases and issues and problems with this male privilege. Oh, the other thing that I really loved was that he addressed that no one ever talks about how much patriarchy has negatively harmed and affected men and their ability to be fully expressed. And on that note, my time is running out, so I'm going to end this, but we'll be back tomorrow.